Police. Hello guys, good morning. So today is the 16th of July 2026, on a Thursday. So let's see what gold, silver, and DXY have for us. Okay, so of course, I will not start from all the way from behind. The level you see marked here, the break of structure, but I'll just leave it there because it's something that happened a long time ago. Okay, so okay, let's get it done. So today on gold and silver, of course, I will start from the daily chart. So this is the daily chart, and so you can see this is the daily chart. So from the daily chart, I want to see what is happening. And from the look of things, we have been unable to, of course, we have been unable to close below this level for the longest time possible. Ever since 24th June, we have been unable to close below this level. So that tells you that price wants to reject from there and maybe pump to the upside. And also from the weekly chart, if you remember well, the plan was to go to the upside. Okay, the plan was to trade to the upside because we had this weekly change in state. Then we had the previous week respect 50% of this um, uh, candle, or maybe this order block. So I do not really want to talk much about the weekly chart, but I was expecting a bullish week. So coming to the daily chart, let's see if that is still valid. So of course, we had this huge candle to the downside, which still did not manage to close below 39.97. Okay, and then on Tuesday, CPI day, we had price retrace to the new week opening gap. So we had price retracing to this new week opening gap. So that is our NWOG. And then we retested that midpoint level, consequent encroachment, and then price dropped. So we were unable to break that still. And then yesterday, Wednesday, we had an inside day and we still had some high impact news. So on gold, we had an inside day. Price did not really go anywhere, but it is important to notice that we closed above the previous day close. So that is still something to consider in our bullish uh, bias. Okay. So coming to the daily chart on silver, I noticed something very interesting. We had the same price action, this huge candle that did not manage to close below the level which we have been rejecting from. And then we also have price retesting the new week opening gap on CPI and then dropping to the downside. Okay, not really dropping, but returning to close inside the previous day range. Okay, so yesterday we actually had an inside day, but it had very different characteristics on silver. So on silver, you will notice that we had that previous day sweep. So on silver, we had that previous day, while on gold, we did not have that previous day sweep. So that can be one sign that price might be ready to pump to the upside. So that is one of the signs that I have seen on the daily chart. So if that can hold, so if this low can hold, then it would mean that price is now ready to pump to the upside. So I will take this as a daily SMT. So we have a daily SMT right there. And when you go to the 4-hour chart, you will notice it even better. So that is what really I'm looking at on the daily chart. And that being said, if we are to go higher, then I would like to see price today sweeping this inside day low, because this means that majorly this was a consolidation. We traded both sides, and as you can see, we have sizable wicks to both sides of this candle. We have a very small bodied candle, and then we have a wick to the upside, a wick to the downside. So that basic, and then it was an inside day. So that basically means it was a consolidation day. And I would like us to sweep the previous day low, which is a consolidation low, before we continue to the upside. So today I want to see this sell side liquidity being swept. So I will mark this as a previous day low. And then previous day low, I would like it to get swept and then continue to the upside. On silver, maybe yes, but all I just want to see is this low being respected, because it is the SMT low, so it means it is a protected low. Okay, so that being said, I can now go to the 4 hour to look at more PD arrays. Okay, so as you can see, I've said that I want to see this low being swept, but I still want to see this being protected. So I do not want this low to be taken out by any chance. If it does, then maybe I will have to reanalyze my direction for the day. Okay, so today I want to see that being swept, and then maybe, because we have this order block, this is a continuation, probably a propulsion block, because this is the main order block which has still been holding price. And if we look price, what price did in this area, we will notice that we had an inverted fair value gap, because we had this huge candle to the downside and then this one to the upside. So that creates this gap and this gap. So that became an inverted fair value gap. And when you map that out, we have been respecting consequent encroachment of that inverted fair value gap. So I will delete this, but I just want to show you. So that is an IFVG. And as you can see, we have not been closing below 50% of it. So that is a very good sign if we are looking for bullish price action. So today I want to see maybe another week come to the downside, sweep this, and then maybe retest. We have another smaller fair value gap, a 4 hour fair value gap right here. So there are reasons for price to come to the downside before it continues to the upside. So I'll mark that in gray. So I do want to see us sweeping this previous day low. This is my sell side liquidity for the day. And then when we come to this level, then I would like to see a reaction from that. And then another thing that we can look at is this displacement from here to here. Okay, so from here to here, we are deep in below equilibrium. So I would like to see this happen, sell side liquidity sweep in the discount levels, and then we can continue to the upside. So let me delete this. This is the range that we are currently in, and as you can see, this fair value gap lies below equilibrium, and if we go further to divide it, it lies even well below the 0.25 level. So you can see that if we divide that further, the discount level, you can see that we are this level lies in deep discount. Okay, so extreme discount. So I would like to see price dipping into that before we continue to the upside, which will mean we will have swept liquidity, rebalanced and imbalance, or even retested an order block. So let us look at that price action on a 1 hour chart. Let me delete this. I want to keep my charts as clean as possible. So on the 1 hour, uh, I do have the same levels. This is the previous day low that I keep saying I want to see being swept. So I want to see that being swept, and then we will be retesting. In that process, we will be retesting this order block, and then this main order block here. Okay, so that is basically what I want to see today. I want us to retest this order block, and in the process retest this in 4 hour fair value gap, while respecting the 4 hour inverted fair value gap that I have shown you. Although we might disrespect it, I would not want us to disrespect this low. This is a protected low today, and I do not want to see it being disrespected. Okay, so that's basically it for me on on uh, on Nasdaq, on gold. I'm sorry, on gold. So this is the plan of day. Let me just map it out. Then my first target, of course, will be the new week opening up, which I want us to rip through. So today I do not just want us to wick into that. I want us to break this buy side, break this buy side, and then push higher to the upside. So that is my plan of the day. I expect to get some setups, maybe let us map it out together. Expect to get some setups here. Expect to get some setups there. Uh, then yeah, so that's a 3 hour setup. And of course, after price retest this and starts leaving to the upside, I will update my stop loss to maybe something like that. So this is just something to show you what I expect to see today. uh, Maybe something like that, because I expect us to close above the new week opening gap, so above 41.20. So if all goes well, we will have maybe we'll have a good displacement of around let's mark out this order block first of all, and then see what we have. If we map out this order block, then it means we will retest the 4-hour FVG and then come maybe to 40002 and then start displacing from there. So yeah, something like that. And then should I mark out this order block? I think I should. I think I should. So this is our 1 hour OB, bullish OB. So it's a plus OB. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So yeah, I expect price to come to those levels. Um, let's see how many pips we expect from that. From these levels around here, I expect to get a displacement of around 950, 1000 pips, something like that. So something above 800 pips. Today I will be hunting for something above 800 pips with a stop loss of less than 200 pips, because this is 280. And of course, I have told you that I will adjust it according to the current, to the daily low that will be formed maybe during London or maybe during this sweep. So I expect a sweep, and then the sweep that will form the low of the day. This sweep will form the low of the day, which will retest these areas, the order block, the previous day low, this 4-hour fair value gap. Of course, you can see that we have a lot to look for in that area. Okay, so yes, that is what I see on gold. So let's look at DXY real quick, because there's no need to look for at silver. I just use it as a correlated asset. Mostly I trade gold. So we have the SMT, which should be marked here. We have the SMT, we have the sell side liquidity, that the order block, and the 4-hour fair value gap, that I expect one of those, at least one of those, to be uh, retested, and then we can trade higher. So yeah, that is it. I'll just delete that and leave, then return to the 4-hour chart. That is where I will be waiting for price. So yes, as you can see, this is mainly what I want to see. This is where I want to trade from. This setup I want to trade from maybe 4011 to 4115, 4120. So let's do a quick look at DXY and see what DXY has for me. Okay, so DXY, I'll start from the daily. So from the daily, you will notice that we had been rejecting from these areas. And then when you look to the left to see what we had in that area, we had this daily order block. Okay, so yes, we had this daily order block, or maybe a propulsion block, but basically it's an order block. So we had this order block holding price to the upside for the longest time possible from 2nd July. Was it 2nd July? Yes. So we had price being held uh, to the upside from that level. Price was retesting that area, pumping to the upside, testing that area, pumping to the upside, retesting, closing up, retesting, pumping to the upside. So finally, yesterday, price invalidated that area and it was able to break. Additionally, we had this because if you study price, you will notice that every high probability order block has a fair value gap next to it. So you will notice that we had that fair value gap, all right? And that fair value gap was also being respected from the 2nd of July. We were retesting displacing, retesting, displacing, retesting, displacing, retesting, displacing. Yesterday, we were able to break that to the downside, disrespected consequent encroachment of that fair value gap, which also gave us this break of structure to the downside on a daily chart. Then we had the previous day forming a daily change in state. So you can see how many things those are pointing to bearish price action. So this is a daily change in state. uh, this is an the new week opening gap was invalidated. This is a daily change in state. This is a break of structure to the downside, a daily. All these are on the daily chart, which makes them uh, very strong PDRs. Okay, so once that has happened and we have disrespected the fair value gap that I have just deleted, now what is the next point of interest? Okay, so I told you that price only retraces or goes towards two things, majorly two things. Retraces towards two things because, of course, we have been bullish. So this is a retracement. So price retraces to two things only. Okay, an imbalance or an order block. Okay, so what do we have here in this price action? You can see that we broke structure to the upside, and then we have this fair value gap, and of course we have this order block. Okay, so that could be our next point of interest on DXY, and this order block, this small here, and this is a daily order. These are daily levels. I haven't even gone to the 4-hour chart or something like that. So this is an order block, a daily order block. Then yeah, so basically uh, I just want to see price retesting these areas because this is our next point of interest on DXY. And if that is what I want to see on DXY, then it means I want to see the opposite on gold XAU USD. I want to see it pumping higher as DXY is retesting its this fair value gap and this order block. Okay, so I don't think I will even go to the 4-hour because we have that break of structure. So maybe just to mention that I would like to see DXY maybe looking for some bullish, bearish, what am I saying? Some PDRS to the premium side, and then maybe continuing with its move. So you will notice that on the hourly chart, it did that small liquidity sweep, broke structure here, or maybe market structure shift, something like that, right here. So we should be able to get maybe some level of retracement to that. So maybe let's measure that range, see where price might retrace to into that price action. So yeah, we should be able maybe to go back to this level where we broke. We have this breaker block. Okay, so here we have a breaker block just above the equilibrium. We have a breaker block because this was able to go and sweep liquidity here. uh, Let me just mark it out. So the last down close candle here before this up close becomes our breaker, which is this one here. So I do expect maybe price to retest this candle here, the 2200 10 p.m. candle in New York time. So that is my breaker because it is the last down close before price pumped to the upside to sweep this liquidity and then broke that to the downside. So maybe we can, as we are expecting that liquidity sweep here, then DXY can probably go to the upside, retest these areas. So we have a lot of wicks here. So we could go there and then price can retrace to the downside. So where is our marker? So something like this would be good to see. Then we drop to the downside. Where are you? Yes. Yeah, basically that's what I'm looking at.